answer your question, Jay, as a little girl in 4-H, no. This level of public service was not on my radar screen at that time. My mother was just encouraging me to get my projects done. So maybe it helped with time management skills, I'll say that. I too welcome you to the Levy Mansion, and I like to think of the mansion as a place that connects a piece of history with the forward thinkers who help us shape the future. And Jay, we thank you very much for the kind words, but most of all, I thank you for your leadership. And I thank you for the great partnerships that Sagamore Institute has with the state in so many ways. And it's delightful to see so many of our partners in progress here with us today. We have many of our state's business leaders and economic development professionals and my fellow elected officials as well. You know, there's a great part of our state's geography represented here today also, which goes to show what a great connection Sagamore Institute has throughout the state of Indiana. I might add to that around the country and around the world as well. I'll give you a little story to illustrate. Last September, I'm walking in downtown Tokyo, and I hear a voice shout, "There goes my Lieutenant Governor." I look a half block behind me, and it's Larry Ingram. And when you think about it, you know, essentially that's why we're here today, to talk about the world getting smaller and closer through our partnerships. And I hope you are proud that Indiana is, and has been for quite some time, an internationally open state. You know, Jay touched on this, but in today's economy, it is no longer possible to stay at home and hope to thrive and hope to compete. That's why we're always looking outside our borders and working on forming those new relationships. And I would say as well, as the governor and I have only 4.5 months remaining in office, please know that some of our most special memories will be about the friendships and the relationships that we have formed internationally. And the governor and I, over the 8-year period, traveling in separate delegations, have now led 10 international trade missions touching on at least 14 countries. And I want to mention too that one of the most important aspects of these missions is private sponsorship and support. The efforts we have, of course, we conduct on behalf of all Hoosiers when we explore increased international trade, but the missions are not financed by Hoosier taxpayers. Our missions have been financed by private sponsors, so I thank many here in the room today for the role they play in that. I reflect back to 2006. It was the first international trade mission that I led. Some of you with me then. Was the first U.S. delegation to visit Central America after Congress passed CAFTA. Now, of course, I love the politics of it all, so considering that some of the areas had ratified CAFTA, others had not. So it was fascinating to me to listen to the various, right, Don, shaking his head, Don Gilwa, listen to the various leaders describe their viewpoints to their people on the pro or the con of CAFTA. And next came my mission to Taiwan and to Vietnam on one trip. Taiwan, of course, such a long-time economic partner for Indiana. We were the first state to open a trade office, first state to have a sister state relationship. Vietnam, however, was exploratory. We didn't know what to expect, but we had 135 individuals come out to celebrate at our Friends of Indiana reception with some interest in doing business in Indiana. And then off to Mexico the following year. The next year we were in China, last fall in Japan, and then, as many of you know, this summer our second visit to China. My second visit, Governor Daniels has been to China a couple of times as well. And after the activity, our visits in recent years, quite frankly, I think I'm sorry that the governor and I didn't reach out even earlier in our administration. There is just such potential for new investment in our state and increased exports to China. I wish we would have formed some of these relationships much earlier. And isn't it true, most of the success we have in life, whether personally or professionally, it's due to the strength of our relationships, as Jay mentioned earlier, and it is no different in international trade. And that, of course, is one of the chief reasons why I helped form Indiana's working group on China, to create this permanent platform that supports our ongoing efforts with Zhejiang province, but also with the entire country. So during our trade mission to China in June, we did indeed celebrate the 25th anniversary of our sister state relationship. We have, the Hoosiers in the room, have former Governor Bob Orr and Lieutenant Governor John Mutz to thank for their vision in 1987 and the steps they took at that time to cement this relationship. And I know if Bob Orr were living today, he would be very proud of this ongoing economic partnership, and it is indeed flourishing. I want to say a special thank you as well to all of the members of the Indiana Working Group on China for all of the hard work they did to make this June mission quite a success. There were 37 delegates that traveled with us, and would you raise your hand, be recognized if you went with us to China this summer? Several here today. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. So we not only celebrated our 25th anniversary with our friends in Zhejiang, we brought home some new opportunities for the people of our state, by the way, as we have on each of those 10 international missions to date. We signed MOUs with 3 Chinese businesses, all intend to locate or grow their operations here in the state of Indiana. The cities of Elkhart and Muncie and Huntingburg will be the recipients of this new investment. We had more cities in Indiana that formed sister city relationships while we were there this summer. That brings the number to, I believe, 22 Hoosier cities that now have partners in China. IU Health and Zhejiang Hospitals signed an MOU to begin a partnership as well. We hosted 40 Chinese businesses at a business and trade summit. Those representatives of those businesses interacted with our 37 delegates and visited booths and discussed the potential of investment here in the state. And as you know, it's in the informal settings and in the breakout sessions where most of the business takes place. We entered into a new partnership as well with Jilin province, north of Beijing, a province that reached out to us earlier. They have interest in an agricultural-based relationship. to collaborate on our goods and our products and on research as well. This is a critical part of what we're discussing today. Our partners in Zhejiang announced the creation of their own Indiana Zhejiang Exchange Council, and of course that's the counterpart to the working group we have in place here in Indiana. And I think that provides great promise for the future because now we have this structure in place in both areas. So these achievements and many more were certainly made possible by so many of the people who are right here today at this luncheon, and we thank you. And now what do we do? Well, to take us to the next level, Sagamore Institute is going to be the shepherd, the administrator of the working group. And as I said earlier, the Sagamore Institute has been such a great supporter in all of our efforts to bring new economic opportunities to the people of our state. They also realize that one of the best potentials for growth is global growth. And they already have the wheels in place to help us take our relationship with China to the next level and make it even stronger. So I thank each of you for being here, being part of a new phase of this China working group, because we do indeed need your ongoing support. So I thank you for all you do for the people of our state, and thanks for being here today. Documents to present to the Sagamore Institute. In fact, the MOU that were signed while we were in Zhejiang this summer.
Thank you, Governor, for those remarks. The bar is set high because we are successful. How do you sustain that success? The economy is rapidly changing. We need to be in the middle of that narrative. The Assistant Secretary of Commerce was in town yesterday. Perhaps some of you heard him at the World Trade Dinner or caught him on Gary Dick. And to prove the bipartisan nature of this, the Democratic president is formed a national export initiative to drive the story. The commerce official yesterday said he didn't question about weather. You know, there's 95% of the customer base outside our borders. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of growth expected in our planet outside our borders. Yet 1% of United States companies export their products. Indiana is a top 10 exporter, as you may know. So we're in a leadership position, thank you to the Daniels and the Skillman administration and those who have preceded them. We need to sustain that effort, of course, and grow it. And that is going to be the task that we need you to help lead. So it's our honor to receive the assignment, and hopefully we can bring a little something to the party, but it's going to be the dynamism of the platform, hopefully, that we can create that enables you to flourish in policy and in practice, or in the deals that we need to grow. So we're committed to that mission, and we thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of it.